In this video, we'll be going over part 2 of Unit 1 of AP Psychology. Let's get started on drugs, scans, and brain parts. Psychoactive drugs are substances that affect the brain and behavior. Substance use disorder is when someone can't stop using drugs. Antagonist is when a drug blocks the effects of neurotransmitters. Stimulants are drugs that speed up brain activity. Caffeine is a stimulant found in coffee that increases alertness. Cocaine is a powerful drug that increases energy and happiness. Meth is a drug that increases dopamine and concentration. Ecstasy is a drug that increases serotonin. Opioids are a pain-relieving drug that can be addicting. Heroin is an opioid that can cause extreme euphoria. Addiction is a strong need to keep using a drug. Reuptake inhibitor is when it keeps the neurotransmitters in place and keeps them from being in effect. Agonist is a drug that increases the effects of a neurotransmitter. Depressants are drugs that slow down brain activity. Barbiturates is a drug that makes you feel calm. Alcohol is a depressant that slows down brain activity. Hallucinogens are drugs that cause hallucinations. Near-death experience is a sensation some people report when they feel like they're about to die. Marijuana is a drug that can cause relaxation and alter perception. LSD is a hallucinogen that strongly affects vision. Tolerance is needing more of the same drug to feel the same effect. Withdrawal is an unpleasant feeling when you stop using a drug. Biological psychology is study of how our brains and body affect our thoughts and behavior. Levels of analysis is examining a problem from biological, psychological, and social viewpoints. Brain plasticity is how the brain can change and adapt as we learn or experience new things. Lesion is a damage to a specific part of the brain. EEG is a test that records electrical activity in the brain by using small sensors placed in the scalp. MEG is a technique that measures the magnetic fields produced by the brain activity to study brain function. MRI is a scan that uses magnets and radio waves to create detailed pics of the brain. CT is a type of X-ray that takes pictures from multiple angles to observe the brain or the body. PET is a scan that shows how the brain is using sugar, helping to see areas of activity. fMRI is when it detects changes in blood flow. Neurogenesis is the formation of new neurons. Split brain is a condition where the two halves of the brain are separated. Corpus callosum is a bundle of nerves that connects the two sides of the brain. Brainstem is when it connects the brain to the spine. It also controls things like breathing and heartbeat. Hindbrain is the lower part of the brain that controls basic functions like breathing. Midbrain is located above the hindbrain and it controls vision and hearing. Forebrain is the largest part of the brain and it controls thinking, emotion, and memory. Medulla oblongata is part of the brainstem that controls breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. Reticular activating system is the network of nerves in the brain that helps control alertness. Limbic system is a group of brain structures involved in emotions, memory, and motivation. Thalamus is a relay station in the brain that sends 5 centers to different areas of the brain. Hypothalamus is part of the brain that controls hunger, thirst, or body temp. Pituitary gland is the master gland that releases hormones and controls other glands. Hippocampus is part of the brain that forms new memories and retrieves memories. Amygdala is part of the brain that controls emotions, especially anger and fear. Cerebellum is part of the brain that helps control balance, coordination, and movement. Broca's area is speech production. Wernicke's area is reliable for understanding language. Contralateral hemispheric organization is the idea that left brain controls our right side and the right brain controls our left side. Aphasia is a language disorder that affects speaking, understanding, reading, and writing. Cerebral cortex is the outer layer of the brain which controls thinking and decision-making. It's also divided into 4 lobes. The first lobe is the frontal lobe, where it is responsible for speaking, planning, judging, and abstract thinking. The occipital lobe is visual info or sight. The parietal lobe is responsible for touch, body position, and temperature. The temporal lobe, it processes sound and speech comprehension. Association areas are areas of the cerebral cortex that handles higher levels of thinking and learning. Motor cortex is part of the frontal lobe that controls voluntary muscle movements. Cortex specialization is the idea that different areas of the cerebral cortex have specialized functions like vision, hearing, and movement. Somatosensory cortex is part of the parietal lobe that processes sensory info. Prefrontal cortex is the front part of the frontal lobe involved in decision-making and planning. Sensory information is data that brain receives from 5 senses, which is sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. So that's it for Unit 1 Part 2, and Unit 1 Part 3 will be coming up real soon.